Hello, can everyone hear me? Yeah, perfect. So I'm Bhavnita Patel from the MTC. Everyone calls me Bav, so please call me Bav if you want to talk to me about anything. So today I'm going to talk to you about feeding the future, talking about automation, robotics and digitalisation in food manufacturing. Thought I'd introduce myself. I am a business development manager at the MTC, so the Manufacturing Technology Centre, which is one of the high-value manufacturing catapult centres here to support UK businesses in manufacturing. So my previous history in food manufacturing, I have been in food R&D for over 10 years, and then into MTC I support agriculture and food and drink manufacturing businesses, as well as other healthcare and healthy living activities. In my slides, I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of what is the current state of play, what are the barriers, what are the challenges, and how we can really come about overcoming them within the sector. I've left that there so to have a look at while I was talking, because robotic density is considered as one of the methods of understanding the level of adoption of robots within the UK, across the globe. This data is from 2023. You might be looking for where the UK is on here. It is not. Back in 2023, it was around between, I think it was about 25. In 2024, it dropped to 26, 27. And this year, as of the results of last week, I believe it's moved up to 19. We're not quite sure why yet, so that's we're going to delve into that. We're getting there, but we're not great. If you look at some of the countries in here in terms of Korea, Singapore, China, Germany, even places like Sweden do a lot better than the UK with regards to robotics. Let's look at robots in food. So you can see here some of the other sectors like automotive, metals, electrification side of things. There's a lot more robots in those sectors. Food, which covers things like hospitality, food service, food manufacturing, and a range of different parts within food. That's quite a small number. So why is that? Recent information from the FDF from their Q1 studies showed that half of the businesses actually want to prioritize investment into automation to overcome those skills shortages and drive productivity. This sounds great. This sounds like everyone wants to go ahead, look at automation, look at digitalisation, look at what different ways of improving their productivity within the business. But actually, 41% of food and drink manufacturers are scaling back in investments because there's so many things to consider. There's things to consider with regulations, taxes, national insurance, a minimum wage, some of the taxes that are coming with regards to packaging, etc. There's so many things to consider. Even the politics around the world is driving some of those changes. Things like the GLP-1s is also driving the way that people are looking at manufacturing and the types of products people want to look at as well. But I showed a happy picture, and now a little bit of, maybe let's look at some of the challenges. What is really holding back people with regards to investment? We've got skills, the time, getting a food manufacturer out to go and see what's available out there is really hard. You've got to get products out of the door. That is key for the business. So actually getting the time to look at what's available, going and speaking to people, that actually sometimes takes a back seat. Funds, capital equipment, there's supply chain. Culture's quite a big thing that we see as well within the business. There is a fear of failure. Quite often, people have invested in things in the past. They have not worked out very well. We go, we don't want to do that again. knowledge of what's available. It is great coming out to some of these events and seeing what is available in the sector, but who do you go to? Sometimes I think there's a bit of a fear with regards to that, and then finding those right suppliers, finding the right people to work with as well. But we can change that. There is a need to change. If food manufacturers want to grow, they need to invest in technology. So that could be from an operations perspective, looking at things like productivity, reducing some of their costs with regards to labour, looking at waste valorisation, energy, sustainability, how do we reduce Scope 3 emissions that people have promised that they would do. There are things out there from an operations perspective, but also from an R&D side. Consumers want different products. And food manufacturers need to innovate to allow those products to be available for consumers. There's the sustainability side of things. There's the things about high fat, sodium, and sugar. How do products that people want? You look at the big food and drink manufacturers out there. They have quite a lot of salt, fat and sugar in them. These people are constantly innovating to make their products healthier. And then we've got regulations and environment changes as well. You've got things like additives. People are doing more with regards to traceability, digital passports, understanding allergens. There's traffic lights. There is a need to change. If people want to keep up, there is a need to change. So what are the key areas of opportunity? We have got digitalisation and AI. In my world, AI fits as part of digitalisation. However, I know AI likes to be called out as a separate word, so I've called it out. We have got ERP and MES systems, so enterprise resource planning and manufacturing execution systems in there. Things like data collection, looking at data, interpreting it, the information, using that data for decision making, things like sensors for collecting data. And then on the automation side of things, I've only called a few bits out here because automation is a lot easier to understand because you see it. You can physically see it. The digital side is a lot harder because it's behind things that go on. So I've called out a lot more there. But with regards to automation, there's standard mechanical automation, there's robotics, cobots here, so collaborative robots that are now coming out as well. People are talking about humanoids, etc. The list goes on. And quite a lot of food manufacturers are actually quite well automated. They are just very good at getting from A to B. There's very little flexibility in there. When you want to change different ingredient or want to change your recipe slightly, it becomes quite difficult with the existing pieces of equipment. So there are still areas with regards to smarter automation. There's a report that Newton and the Food and Drink Federation put out last year, and there is still an untapped opportunity of up to 14 billion of growth in the UK through investment in things like AI, digital, and automation as well. So the data's there. There is a need. So why would you want to bring in digitalisation? I've put a circle of different things in there. There's communication, connectivity, etc. But for me, digitalisation really helps with decision maker and the data insights. You start collecting that data, you've got more information about your line, your business, your product, etc. That will then help you make those right decisions that is data driven for future business decisions. I'm not going to go, and I've got quite a few words on this slide, but I thought it was quite important to tell you about various digital technologies. So looking at smart, secure manufacturing, things like digital twins and connected sensors, they're probably on quite a different wavelength. Digital twins is completely one direction. Connected sensors, everyone can start implementing sensors. You don't need to go all the way to digital twins, but that really helps with real-time monitoring of your lines. There's cyber security with heard about all the challenges with cybersecurity in the last year or so, especially with regards to retailers. We need to start adding cybersecurity, if not already, and protecting those recipes, the data, etc. Visual dashboards. For me, that is actually a really useful tool. The dashboards allows people, whether you're on the shop floor, whether you are management, whether you are C-suite, you can get the same information portrayed in different ways for different parts of your business that will help them do their job better. AI, we're looking at maintenance, quality checks, reducing waste. It allows you to automate. It allows your the digital AI side, and then the people talk about physical AI. So how can you add AI in a physical environment that will help make those physical decisions and activities? But AI can be used in R&D. It doesn't have to just be used in operations. It can help with what ingredients should you use next, or if I've got I've got B and C and D, how do I use that data together actually to know what E and D might do? And then you've got digital supply chain, so there's traceability again. That is becoming more prevalent in the US with regards to digital passports, etc. We've got food adulteration challenges, we've got allergens, etc. So having that traceability is going to be more and more important as we move forward. And then we've got technology and options like using blockchain, using prediction models. You don't have to go into AI models, sometimes do the job. And then product and process development. How can we simulate some of those new recipes? Look at advanced modeling and speed up some of that innovation as well. Inspection. Looking at robotics and imaging. So I've put hygiene checks in here, but it doesn't have to be. It could be for understanding what your product variability is like, or are you getting the same product over again? Where are your defects? Where's your bad potato coming into the line, for example? And then you've got things like monitoring storage and transport conditions. Sometimes literally as simple as putting in sensors or vision systems into your storage solutions. That will help dramatically reduce costs and make sure that your product or your raw materials are in the right state. So moving on from digital, looking at automation, why use automation and robotics? For me, again, I've put a load of things on here and they're all true, but automation allows you to be more consistent. So with humans, there's always some level of variability. We're all human. Everyone does things slightly differently from different shifts. Even within the same day, you might feel a bit tired a bit later. You might do things slightly differently. With automation, you do the same thing over and over again. So it removes some of that variability, allows you to be more accurate and consistent and improve your overall product quality as a result. There's a stat in here which I thought was quite interesting. I put it in at the bottom. If UK automation levels matched the most automated country, our productivity would increase by over 22%. And I thought that was quite shocking. So as the UK, we need to do better. Not just the UK, but beyond, but there's definitely a lot we can do here. I've put this automation journey, and this is the automation journey that the MTC uses, but it's not about what we use, it's about the different steps that are in here that people need to consider when bringing in automation. And you'll see that when I talk about all those challenges, these are great bits of technology, there's loads of technology here today. What's stopping us? How can you make that better? How can you make that easier? And this automation journey for me is not about what it does, but it's actually about how it breaks down some of those really wanting to automate a line is quite an onerous process if you're starting from scratch. But what you need to do is look at it quite stepwise. So you need to have a look, you need people in to do your line work. You need to have a strategy. you need to go, actually, what do I want to automate? I can't do everything at once. Let's start with one bit. The bit that's going to give you either the best return on investment, maybe the low-hanging fruit, etc. And then it's about developing some of those concepts, etc. Let's look at what can be done. There might be off-the-shelf solutions. There might be technology that needs to be developed. Then it's about generating that business case and then doing the feasibility, doing the concept development. And sometimes that's a little bit of an iterative process. And then you can go off and do your RFQ pack and your work with your suppliers, etc. But this is when you want to start bringing in some automation that you're not really sure, and it's not necessarily an off-the-shelf solution. This shows what that journey can look like. So for me, this is all about a stepwise approach. So in terms of de-risking automation, 4 things I've got on here. I think the key to, it's not even, so de-risking adoption, it's not automation, it's about digital as well. So roadmap and a business case. Having a clear roadmap with business cases for not necessarily all of it, but even parts of it, will really help within your business share that understanding and make sure everyone is aligned with what you want to do and why. It will help alleviate those challenges in the future. It will mean that the technology that you bring in will not just be a coat hanger the next month or the next year. It's looking at independent support. So I work at the MTC. We are independent and agnostic, but there are other catapult centres, there are other technology providers, RTOs, etc., that exist in this space to help with that. If you're not sure, reach out for independent support to help you with your business. As I've said before, stepwise is key. Don't go for everything at once. You've got your plan, you've got your roadmap, you've got your business case, you've got your holistic view. You don't need to rush all at it at once. Do it stepwise. Do one bit at a time. That will help not only minimize your investment to start off with, but it will also mean that you're taking people in your business along that journey, which is often one of the challenges. It will change your culture of your business slowly, in the right way. It will help you with your buy-in. It will get you more capital investment from your C-suite at a later date. It's all about making sure people are going on that journey together. And that's one way of de-risking investment. You spend a little bit of money. If it doesn't work, okay, you learn from those mistakes. You don't want to do that all at once. And then one of the key things in this area is making sure things are, if you're a smaller business, making sure that you've considered where you can have modular technology, modular equipment, and equipment that is scalable as well. So that could be digital solutions, it could be physical solutions. But I think having some of those in place where you are growing as a business, there's no point spending a load of money, which is great, up until you get, I don't know whether you're 50 million or you're 100 million turnover. And then, actually, now we just scrap everything. We've got to a certain size, we need to buy something new. Try and look for technology that is going to be able to grow with your business as well. So just a summary in terms of my talk today. I completely understand that investment and confidence are at a crossroad. We see it everywhere. We're seeing it on a daily basis, especially towards this part of the year. Digitalisation and automation, though, are critical for growth. We're only going to see some of those challenges grow and grow and grow. Now is really the time to invest in technology to help your business continue to grow. And to do that, de-risking the technology is a step forward in the way that you should approach the adoption of technology. So I want to end it there and just say thank you for listening. If you have any questions, just come and reach out either at the end of the talk or come find me. Thank you.